What up, nomads? It's nearly cold and flu season, and we're on what I hope is the tail end of a global pandemic. Usually around the fall, I'd start taking precautions not to get sick while traveling. But since that's been our reality for the past 3 years, it's kind of altered my approach. It's made me way better at things like washing my hands and not touching my face, but it's also made me way worse at things like getting the flu shot because I'm already scheduling my COVID boosters. So for myself, for you, for your traveling friend that you're going to forward this video to, I've compiled my top tips for keeping yourself healthy and boosting your immune system for this fall and winter. Let's go. So, disclaimer about where I'm coming from. I am not a healthcare practitioner in any shape or form, so none of this is medical advice. But I do believe in evidence-based medicine and science. I do get vaccinated, and I take antibiotics when prescribed. On the flip side, I also have my go-to old-school naturopathic home remedies that I have loved and have been passed on to me from generations before me. So I balance a little bit of both. Let's start with prevention and some prevention tips. Focus on your air quality. This means getting your ventilation cleaned and maintained, removing dusty carpeting and curtains, doing mold checks regularly, getting an air purifier, and cleaning your AC filters. This could also mean getting a humidifier or a dehumidifier, depending on where you live and what kind of environment you're in and the impact on your sinuses. Second tip is to keep your house clean. The environment you live in is such a crucial part of your overall health. Keep your house clean, mite-free, and mold-free, and disinfect often. If you share a house with school-aged children, you already know what a vector for germs they can be. So you probably know how important it is to make sure everyone washes their hands and that surfaces are regularly disinfected, especially if they're coming back from daycare or kindergarten. Keeping your house clean also means adopting just good hygienic habits, as basic as closing the toilet seat cover before you're flushing if you keep your toothbrushes nearby, and other daily healthy habits. Okay, now let's move on to prevention tips involving your body itself. Maintaining good health includes reducing stress and having good sleeping habits. There are loads of resources online to help you de-stress, to manage anxiety, as well as guides to develop better sleep hygiene. But if your anxiety is getting out of control, do seek professional help. Sleep is so vital to our overall well-being, so these are high on my list of tips. My next tip is pretty generic, but worth noting. Have a healthy diet and exercise often. What this means to you varies from person to person, so I won't give any recommendations beyond that. Personally, I try to drink and smoke less. I strive to eat vitamin and mineral-rich foods like leafy greens, healthy fats, and other whole foods more than junk food. I'm sure some people would add a lot more requirements, so I'll let you seek out nutrition advice on other YouTube channels. Tip 5 is to load up on vitamin C and vitamin D before your trip. Of the supplements to build up your immune system, vitamin C and D are my favorite, and the ones that seem to have enough science to back them up. Ginger, zinc, echinacea can also make a difference if you want to go all in on supplements. Just make sure that you're taking them according to the instructions in correct dosage for several days, even weeks before the trip. With supplements, you really do need optimal conditions and consistency over time for your body to absorb them and to see the benefits. Tip number 6 is to get your flu shot or your COVID booster. And really any vaccines or medicine recommended for your particular trip. I used to get my flu shot every year without fail, and this year so far I've only gotten my latest COVID booster. In any case, it's easy, free in most cases, and gives you a little extra protection for you and those around you. As for other destinations that have risks like yellow fever, malaria, and more, make sure you consult with a travel vaccine list to get the ones recommended for your destination. Tip number 7, keep your nose and throat clean. This tip is coming directly from an otorhinolaryngologist or ear, nose, and throat doctor. If I start to have a stuffy nose, I do a sinus rinse or a neti pot rinse regularly to keep bacteria out of my nose and throat. I make sure also to swap out my toothbrush head or replace the toothbrush regularly. Bacteria most often enters our body through our mouth, so oral hygiene is a big factor. Gargle with salt water or apple cider vinegar if you're starting to feel a scratchy throat coming on, and just make sure that you're constantly blowing your nose and clearing out that whole system. And the last thing I'll add to that is I like to rub a little bit of Sage Immunity Blend into my palms and inhale deeply. I'm not sure if this does anything, but it really does unblock my stuffiness, at least temporarily. Okay. The next few tips are more my own anecdotal best practices or tips my family swears by. This one comes from my Cantonese father-in-law. Bundle up and drink hot liquids. It's super cozy, 1, and 2, it makes your body work less hard to keep you warm and can go towards fighting off bacteria or whatever infection it's fighting off. I had an old roommate's mom introduce me to oregano oil, and honestly, it's worked for me. If I start feeling ill, I take a small spoonful of olive oil, put a drop or 2 of oregano oil, and swallow it, and I do this twice a day. Garlic. I don't really use this tip, but a lot of people swear by garlic pills for good health. I prefer ginger personally, but if not for health, at least for flavor. Let me know in the comments if your family or your culture has any common tips for building up your immune system or fighting off a cold that come down to certain foods or ingredients. Okay, the last set of tips I have has to do with your travel itself. Don't drink suspicious water, stick to bottled or filtered water instead. On the plane and in crowded places, wear a mask, wash your hands, and wipe down your plane tray, armrest, and TV screen. Keep your distance from people as best you can and wash your hands frequently. And it goes without saying, if you do feel sick, rest, drink fluids, stay home, and don't travel. Make an appointment to see a doctor or a pharmacist. It's a bummer, but it's the reason I recommend getting travel insurance or using a credit card that covers health-related travel disruptions so you can cancel guilt-free. That's it from me. Stay safe and stay well, and happy travels. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video until the end. For more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the Capsule Suitcase and turn on notifications so you get all the fresh content as soon as it comes out. Thanks for supporting this channel. Happy travels!